Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I am your reader, Jay. These are going to be general messages for the sign of Aquarius in January 2020. What's going on, Aquarius? How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well. All right, man. First message of the year. Happy birthday to you, Aquarius. Those who will be celebrating here at the end of January, I hope you guys have an amazing birthday. Happy birthday also, of course, to those who will be celebrating in February. No matter when you're born, Aquarius, I hope you guys have an amazing birthday. Also, Happy New Year. I'm coming back after a little bit of a hiatus here on my channel. I was busy with the holidays, planning a party, visiting family, and just, generally still having to work a 9 to 5 and doing all that crazy stuff. So I took a little bit of time off to rest and relax a little bit after the new year. But I'm back now doing the generals and all this good stuff. So no matter what you were doing over your holidays, for the new year, for your birthday, again, I hope it's amazing. I hope it's great. Aquarius, I have shuffled off camera. That is your main spread there. I'm going to shuffle on camera now for your outcome and your overall energy. Once all the cards are out and they're lying face up on the table, that's when the reading begins. The timestamp is in the description box below if you want to jump ahead. Also down there is all the information you need if you want to get a personal reading with me. If you have a question before you place an order, feel free to email me at the same address and I will answer you as soon as I can. And again, guys, if you are returning to my channel, thank you for coming back. If you like what you see here, if you enjoy yourself, make sure that you like, share, subscribe, and comment, okay? All right, guys, let's go. Let me see Aquarius's outcome for January 2020. Aquarius's outcome in January 2020, please show me. Oh my gosh, come on. No. Okay. Ha! Ha! I laugh because he was in a split and I just acknowledged him. And I was just like, hey there, King of Cups. And there he is, popping back out. So we made a connection while I was doing your shuffle. Anyway, bottom of the deck is the overall energy. And let's go ahead and flip what came face down for you, Aquarius. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm just being silly. I don't know if I'm actually having an oh my gosh. I'm just making noises while I'm doing this because I'm a weirdo. I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. Aquarius, if anybody can appreciate that, I think it's you. That's a great song by Radiohead, Creep. If you don't know it, go ahead and listen to it. It's a good song. Anyway, let's get into this. Please show me where Aquarius is in January 2020. Please show me Aquarius in January 2020. Please show me. Ooh. I say ooh because I don't think any other sign has started in this position. So it's kind of different for me because... Anyway, Aquarius, here we go. Coming into January, you come in with the Hierophant. Major Arcana card for Taurus. So some of you could be dealing with a Taurus, but you don't have to be. I don't know. The fact that I sang that song, Creep, and the fact that I'm just like kind of feeling what is this feeling? I don't know what this is. I feel very like mischievous maybe. Are you feeling that way? I don't know. Anyway, Aquarius Hierophant. This is like really like not your style, not your bag in many of your cases, Aquarius. Because I feel there's a lot of like fidelity here. I feel there's a lot of stagnant energy or static energy, stuck energy with this Hierophant. And so I'm not sure that this is you. I think this could be the situation, circumstances, or people that you're dealing with. And it's not cool. It's not on board with you. I think that many of you are very much anti this right now. And when I say anti this, I mean what the Hierophant represents. So the Hierophant represents structure. The Hierophant represents rules, regulation, what is prescribed to us by the powers that be. As you can see, it's like this Pope-like figure, and he's talking to his disciples, or he's talking to his bishops or whatever. I don't know. I'm not religious, so I don't know who the Pope talks to, or religious figures. I don't know, like, their underlings or whatever. But there's like decrees being made by this Hierophant that sits on this throne. This is what I said. Go ahead and tell the masses that Pope Hierophant says blah 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 blah. And that's not what I'm feeling you're in the mood to hear. So you're, like I said, you're anti this. So in broader terms, the Hierophant represents systems in play, bodies of power in play that we interact with and we are a part of when we are members of a society, right? So yes, churches, governments, schools, sometimes media, or the powers that create and control information. So news broadcast, newspapers, magazines, online blog forums, social media, things like this. And you're just like not into this at all. I think that if you have people that represent this to you right now, they could come off as authority figures, or they are known authorities figures to you. And if I'm honest, you're like in the mood to like give them the finger, go spray paint their car. Like I said that. I said I feel mischievous. I'm feeling playful. I'm feeling like a rebel. I'm feeling the need to rebel against this person, or rebel against what that Hierophant represents. The other thing that the Hierophant can represent, like I did mention, fidelity. It is one of the cards of marriage in the tarot. So you might be in a marriage and you're wanting to rebel against that marriage, or you might be having just discussions about marriage, or discussions with people about certain social constructs, or certain social behaviors that are quote unquote normal, and you're just like, well, what the fuck is normal? And then you're just like, you're out here pushing up against the expectations of others, pushing up against what the authorities in your life, whether they be your parents, your bosses, whomever, it doesn't matter. And I don't care how old you are. You could be 78 and doing this. It makes no point. The energy that I'm feeling from you, Aquarius, is screw that. Screw them. Screw all that stuff that people are telling us is the right way to be, or that you're telling me the right way to be. You don't know my life. You don't know who I am. You don't know what I want, blah, 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 blah. Because that's the other thing. Like I told you, not one person, but in this card, one person is telling others what to do. There is too much power in this person's control, and you don't like that. Your boss, your parents, your husband, your wife, whomever. Somebody is pulling strings. Somebody is making up the rules, or saying what's allowable or what's not allowable. Someone is setting up parameters, and you're just like, now they're showing me like little cat videos that you could find here on YouTube. You ever watch like cat videos where the owner's like watching their cat like push a bottle towards the edge of a table, and the owner, the Hierophant, is just like, the bottle needs to stay on the table, Mr. Scruffy. Mr. Scruffy is like looking at the camera like, boom. No, Mr. Scruffy, don't hit that bottle. Nudge. Mr. Scruffy, no. Boom, crash. The bottle's off the table. And the cat sits there like, and now what? So you are that cat nudging this bottle closer and closer to the edge of the table, saying, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? I don't agree that this bottle needs to be on the table. Why does the bottle need to be on the table? This is stupid. You're arbitrarily deciding that the bottle needs to stay on the table. My name is Mr. Scruffy, and I don't believe in that shit. Bang. Very interesting. Why are you doing this? I don't know yet. But that's definitely what I'm feeling coming from your side of things. It's a general, by the way. I'm saying you, Aquarius. You could be the Hierophant, or you could be somebody who's like no contest. And this could just be a situation that you're observing of other people around you. But I feel many Aquariuses are I'm getting over a cold, so my throat gets very dry. Anyway, I feel that many Aquariuses are very much in a mood to challenge the status quo, to buck the system, to give a big middle finger to the man, whatever the man is in your life, and say, no, that's not how it's happening. That's not how it's going to happen going forward, boss. Forget it. Forget it. Now, why do I say all this? Where's this coming from? Okay, deep change. Thank you. Death card right beneath the Hierophant. Deep change. Major arcana for Scorpio. Some of you could be dealing with a Scorpio, but you don't have to be. There's something fundamentally, because we're underneath the Hierophant, so we're talking about the foundation of the status quo. There's something deep under subterranean that's changing, you know? Wow, okay. No. One second. Excuse me. What I'm feeling is, like, you know how, well, and I'm not a scientist, guys, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed sometimes, but I feel that don't earthquakes happen because of plate shifting under the earth? Like, isn't it like, say my hands are like two plates, and an earthquake is the result of the plates going like boom, like that, and there's like a huge earthquake up here on the surface, like a huge disturbance to our life as we know it, based on this pretty relatively small shift under the surface. I think that's how earthquakes work. I could be wrong, not a scientist, totally, it's not my bag. I've always sucked at math and science in school, but I think that's what I remember. And I think that's what that's what they're showing me in relation to this death card, is minor changes underneath it all. For you, for someone else, the situation you're involved in, just an inch or two of change in the tectonic plates equals a massive, and again, I could be wrong, but it equals a very considerable shakeup here on the Earth's surface, right? So internally, something has died. And what is death? Death is only about transformation. It's not, as many of us perceive of death, it's like the final thing. Okay, sure. It's really just about transformation. It's going from one state of being to another. You are living, now you are dead. You are conscious, now you're unconscious. Something like that. And I'm not predicting anybody's dead. No. What I'm saying is, it is a fundamental change, an integral change, a noticeable change. When something is alive, it moves, it breathes, it does all this stuff, it's animated. When it's dead on the table, doesn't move. That's a considerable change. So that's what's going on when we think about the death card, or we perceive of the death card in tarot. Monumental, fundamental, integral, very important changes are happening. Now, the issue, or the crux of the situation, is it's subterranean. Because again, they keep showing me like, they're showing me like a bisection of the earth, like how you used to open up a textbook and like they would show you the different terrain levels of the earth, or any bisection where you can see the different levels of something. They're showing me that deep down, something is changing for someone, and the result on the surface is possibly for you to go, screw you, authority figures. You throw up your middle finger in somebody's face. You know, I'm not sensing that you're being violent or you're being nasty or rude, but I think you're being quite defiant, Aquarius, and that's kind of your bag anyway. That's why when I picked this up, I was like, that's not really Aquarius. That's not usually how you are. And then I quickly was put into what you usually are: a rebel, a defiant person, somebody who is disturbed by or throws at least a harsh line of criticism towards the status quo. Why are these the rules? Who decided? That seems arbitrary. That seems biased, or that seems restrictive, or, you know, you're very conscious of how the rules and regulations work for the powers that be, and then how does it trickle out, and how does it ripple out and affect every other person in the situation, in the community? You are a champion of the community. Now, I'm not sensing, in some of your cases, it is that you are very much interested in the impact of what one other person does, or what corporations do, what the government does, and how that affects the community or the society at large. Many of you are concerned about that. But for the sake of this tarot reading, I think it's more insular, or I think it's a little bit more confined to your everyday life. So this could be, like I said before, parents or authority figures in your life. And again, I don't care how old you are. You could be 34 years old and dealing with your parents being, you know, a pair of noobs, or noobs, a pair of boobs who are just like treating you like you're a teenager. So it's like, no, I'm an adult. What are you talking about? So I feel that for you, Aquarius, you're recognizing something is changing on your for yourself or the situation that you're involved in. Okay, thank you. Oh, okay. Listen, for those where you're married, there is a change in your relationship with your spouse that other people are having opinions about, and you're kind of like, it's none of your business. Now, when I say there are changes to your marriage, that doesn't mean you're breaking up. In some of your cases, maybe. But this could be, as is kind of a trend, as is kind of, you know, this evolution in how we are perceiving of committed relationships in this world. Some of you are exploring options in your marriage. Some of you are ethically non-monogamous. Some of you are polyamorous. Some of you are coming out as what's the word? Sapiosexual, I forget the word. Something like that. Some of you are, in terms of intimate relationships, expanding your consideration or how you identify, whether you're committed or not, okay? In particular, for those who are married, because again, the Hierophant does represent the institution of marriage often, you might be telling your friends or telling your family members, you know, I'm married to Steve. We've been married for 4 years, whatever. But, you know, we're poly. And people look at you like, what? What is that? And you go and you explain it to them. And you're like, okay, well, poly means this and that. And here are the things that me and Steve are hoping to see as we explore this for ourselves. And people are like, but you're married. And you're just like wanting to ram your head through a brick wall. As soon as they say, but you're married, you're just like, did you not listen to what I said at all? Whatever your explanation is, I don't know what your explanation or definition is, but you explain it. Here's how we came to be this polyamorous couple who are married, but ethically, and this is not one and the same. To be poly is not to be ethically non-monogamous, but let's just say those are the two things you're revealing to your family and your friends. Steve and I are poly, and we're also ethically non-monogamous. Let's just say that's what you told them. And you explain it. When they hit you back with, but you guys are married, you're just like, did you listen to what we said? Did you hear a single goddamn word of what we said? We are two mutually loving human beings who said, yes, we're married, but we believe that we are this and that. We want to open the marriage. We want to be in this. We're committed to each other, but ethically we're non-monogamous, meaning I'm going to go bone somebody else. I still love Steve. Steve still loves me. We're still married, but we are open to having sexual explorations with other people. But you're married. What did I just say? Now, the reason this is frustrating is because institutionally, historically, what is prescribed in most societies is that marriage is between a man and a woman. You can open that up and say marriage is between two people. Now, when you want to go and say that marriage is between two people and maybe who those two people want to invite into their lives based on sexual exploration, you're like pushing this person too far. You're pushing this prescriptive what's that called? Traditional, thank you. You're pushing this traditional person or the aspect of traditionalism to the edge of the table. Traditionalism is now the water bottle on the table, and you, Mr. Scruffy's Aquarius, you're just like, fuck tradition, and you knock the bottle off the table. That all is to do with a deep-rooted change that is going on in your marriage, within yourself, in your friend circle, whatever, wherever the change is. It's transmuted, or excuse me, it's transformed energy. Yeah? It's just about transformation. Some of you, you're doing this in a political way. You're out there advocating for certain marriage rights or the recognition of your relationship in some form or fashion. Not every country is open to marriage being outside of what is defined as a man and a woman. Some countries are just like, nah, man, we don't do that same sex stuff here. So that is still, in some of your cases, very much a part of your battle of what you are rebelling against. Now, I feel with the rest of this, we're gonna, again, it's going from a very macro level to a more micro level. So in the grand scheme of things, Aquarius, you don't want to live your life, or you're tired of being told how to live your life by the powers that be, by authority figures, by people who come from places of traditional values or traditional understandings and perceptions of the world. You're like, that's old news, that's old hat, is basic, I'm done, blah, I'm over that. Now, specifically what I'm seeing is, again, in a marriage situation, in a commitment, in something where you've kind of lived your life by the rules, you're no longer interested in living by the rules. Why is that? Because I think you are seeing the world differently. Yeah, you, Aquarius, are seeing the world differently. Page of Cups. Page of Cups is an astute, lovable chap or lovable gal. I think they're very precocious in a lot of ways, but a cuter version of precocious. Precocious can be kind of obnoxious when it comes to a younger energy. Pages are younger energies. Not saying you have to be young, but it's this vitality. There's a certain surge of newness within the pages. Fresh, green, novice, okay? You could be, you know, an older person and still be going through or be embodying this page of Cups energy. And precociousness to me can sometimes be a little mouthy, a little smart alecky, you know, brainiac kind of thing. I think that this Page of Cups is precocious in a way that, you know, essentially, as most of us who are or most of you who will be watching this are adults over the age of, I'd say, according to my analytics, over the age of 24, 25, something like that. You've been adults for a while now, okay? And there is sort of this, it's displeasing to others, and maybe it's a little off-putting to you, because some of you are coming from this life of tradition, and this might be new to you, this idea of being poly, or this idea of non-monogamy, this idea of a new, even if it's not about your sexuality or how you express yourself romantically, it can also be, you know, you might come from more traditional jobs, and maybe you've always had a 9-to-5. Maybe your new transformation or your new act of rebellion against, again, quote unquote, the man, is to go off the grid and kind of, you know, not be a part of capitalist society in some type of way. So maybe now you found a community of people, I'm sure they exist, where there are like small little pockets in several countries where there is no transactional, or excuse me, there's no money exchanging hands in transactions. Maybe they live purely on a barter system or an honor system or some shit like that. And maybe you live in a community of people that, you know, we all plant crops here, we cook together, we live together. There's no, you know, there's nothing about money here. Something like that. That's just like a really like off, you know, far left example. But I know people like that exist. Like I watched something where literally somebody hand cranked a blender. I don't remember what the hell it was, but they lived in like one of those like made over school buses, and they were hand cranking a blender. No shade, live your life, do you, but they were like making a cocktail by hand cranking a blender. That's how off the grid that family was, or that group of people were. Okay, so that's what this is. You are freshly getting involved in a new way of life, a new way of thinking, a new way of perceiving, and in terms of this being a page of cups, a new way of expressing yourself, of experiencing your life, or presenting yourself to the world. This page of cups is like living free, just out there. I mean, the rainbow. There will be tons of rainbows in this deck. It is the happy deck. Actually, no. Is this like the only rainbow on this? Yes, this is the only rainbow on the cards that you have out here. But I know there are other rainbows. So some of you are coming out. LGBTQ plus, whatever acronyms or letters you're using to express yourself, you're coming out as that. And again, you're right next to the Hierophant. So many of you, this is brand spanking new. It's not like you have been in the LGBTQ community before. It's not as if you've been, quote unquote, a hippie before. You've, many cases, have never done this a day in your life. You could be a late in life gay person or LGBTQ person. You know, you're 62. You've got 4 kids and 8 grandkids. And now all of a sudden, Grandma Mary is a lesbian. Okay. Happens. It happens. And it takes guts and gusto to do that. Takes a real, to a certain degree, it does take a rebellious person to break away from those molds, those limitations, or those parameters. This is what I'm doing. Parameters that we have lived in for so long. So bravo to whoever's doing this in whatever form you're doing it, because that's about authenticity. That's about being yourself. This Page of Cups, a lot of times, the Page and probably the Knight of Cups, I feel, and the Queen and the King too, they are very heart forward. They're very like honest, pure self forward. There isn't a lot of performance when it comes to the court cards and the cups. You know, there's not a lot of falseness with those court cards. This page, because it's new energy, it's excited energy, it's very eager and intrigued by what you're experiencing. It's all new to you, and you want more and more and more of it. Yeah. So in a certain way, that takes guts to do that. If you're coming from a place where historically you never did those things, you never said those things. Some of you have never even had a conversation with people in your family about sex, period, or about relationships, period. It was always taken for granted that once you get married, you're going to have kids, but we're not going to talk about how those kids came about. And you're going to have, you know, romantic moments with each other, but we just don't talk about those things. Now you come, you know, holidays were recently, maybe you dropped some bombs over Thanksgiving or over Christmas. Like, okay, me and Steve, we're poly. And like people like stop eating their mashed potatoes and they're like, huh? Like you study like poli science in school? No, we're polyamorous. And it's like a whole big thing because nobody ever talks in those terms in your family. But you, excited to be who you are, excited to walk this path, you're just like, yes, we are polyamorous, or we're ethically non-monogamous, or I'm coming out as, you know, whatever. I'm not gonna sit up here and butcher the terms that I know, but you're expressing yourself in a way that you've never expressed yourself before, and it feels good to you. Probably also feels good to the people that, you know, the person that you're committed to, or that, you know, the partner. I'm using the name Steve. It could be, you know, Joanna. It could be any name under the sun. I don't know your situation, but whoever you're involved with, committed or not, whoever your friends are, whoever your cohort is, the people that are supporting you, feels great. 2 of Cups. This has come out a few times for the January readings. Can be a soulmate card. I don't want to push that on you, Aquarius, because I'm not sure that all of you are looking to be affirmed in soulmate activity. But if you feel that you're dealing with someone or people, more, you know, I believe there are more than one soulmate in this life for all of us. But if you believe you are dealing with soulmates, run with it. Go ahead. I'm more interested in the camaraderie that you're feeling, the connectivity that you're feeling, the recognition that you have. Now that you've found your tribe, your people, it's kind of like, again, I'm feeling like all your life, or for a certain portion of time, you have felt restricted. You have felt as if someone else was pulling the strings and calling the shots and telling you what your life was meant to be and how you're meant to behave in that life. After certain transformations and realizations, or, bucking the trend, bucking the system, and feeling like awkward, it's like you're being like, it's like you're wearing somebody else's clothes. Like, whose shirt is this? Whose underwear is this? This is not what I normally want to wear. This is not who I want to be. And now that you've slowly started to become who you want to be, and along the way you've met people who are like, hey, I feel uncomfortable in those clothes too. Why don't you come over here and put on some of these clothes, or take all those clothes off? Whatever you're doing. Now that you are being recognized, and you have found your tribe, found the person, found the people that validate you, that understand your experience and how uncomfortable you were back here dealing with the Hierophant energy. Now that that's on and popping, it's on and popping. Two of Cups, camaraderie, connectivity between you and another person or other people. You feel reflected. You feel so happy to know of this person or know these people and experience this new track in life. I don't care what your situation is. If you're married in poly and you're ethically non-monogamous, if you're leaving a marriage because, again, Grandma Mary's coming out late in life, so I'm going to be moving out of house with Grandpa, and your family's like, why? Because I met a lovely woman whose name is Cheryl, and they're like, huh? Grandpa Joe, is this true? And Grandpa Joe's just sitting there. That's what she said. Eats his mashed potatoes. He's defeated. I feel that whoever this Hierophant character is, I think that they're fine. I don't think that you rebelling against them is going to topple any traditions or topple the system. No offense if that's your mission. I don't think you're going to dismantle everything that the Hierophant person or collection of people or system is. I don't think that's going to be toppled because you're leaving your husband of 30 years for another woman. I don't think that's happening. But you doing this, it's really freeing to you, Aquarius. Freedom is very important to Aquariuses. The ability to choose, the ability to say, I'm satisfied here, and then, if within a certain amount of time you're no longer satisfied, not being obligated to stay, not being obligated to still perform a role if you are no longer happy. I think Aquariuses are some of the signs that definitely value individualism. And I think that's what's going on here. You've met people or a person in that Two of Cups that recognizes your individualism. Could be your husband, Steve. It could be it took you guys, spending 4 years in traditional matrimony to say, you know what? Hey, Steve. Yes, my darling Aquarius. How are you? So I want to, it could have been that. You could have come out to your partner and saying, I feel poly, or I feel bisexual, or I feel pansexual, or I feel transgendered. And then your partner goes, I support you. Or I feel similar to you. You both could have admitted to yourselves, hey, we're both pansexual, or we're both, whatever. And it's like, it's a relief. Because for 4 years, you thought you were in this very traditional, restrictive, parametered relationship that had all these expectations on it. And now you realize, oh my God, Steve is my guy. He gets me. So you and Steve are going to come out as poly or pan or whatever. We're opening our marriage. We're going to live in a throuple. Maybe even we'll make it a quupple. I don't know if that's a thing. Quapples. I don't know. But whatever you're doing, and you're happy to do it. Fuddy-duddy Hierophant is just sitting there looking like, okay. Again, you're that cat pushing the bottle off the table. Because often when you watch those videos and the owner is watching the cat push the object off the table, Once the object is off the table, usually the owner is still standing there like a schmuck recording it. They're not going to do anything. Interesting. Now, what happens next? I don't know what this is. What's this? Okay. There might be a detractor or two. Aquarius, there might be. Yeah. Could be self-doubt at some point. I'm not sure. King of Wands in reverse. I'll show you this upright so you can get used to it. Fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. You could be dealing with a fire sign, but you don't have to be. I feel as though Aquarius, if this is anybody giving you flack, you're really not here for it. The King of Wands in the reverse can be a displeased figure, can be kind of an ornery person, can be kind of a hater, not the most tolerant, sometimes can be inconsolable, shit like that. So this could be, again, if you're at a family gathering or you're talking with a group of friends, this could be the one friend who pulls you aside that maybe you've known since Catholic school. You know, you both went to Catholic high school together or some shit like that. And now that you've come out as part of the LGBT community, they pull you aside. It's just like, Aquarius, I support you. I care about you. But, I'm not sure that this is the best thing for you. And they might come to you in that type of tone. Like, I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about the eternal circumstance of your soul. I'm concerned about you. I don't want you to go to hell. They could say shit like that to you. After you've already explained, I don't believe in that stuff anymore. That could be another thing that you're breaking away from. Traditional church values. I don't care what your religion is, okay? Catholicism, Buddhism, being a Muslim. I don't care what it is. You could be telling them, I don't adhere to any religious beliefs anymore, or I've transitioned into this other faith, or I'm non-denominational, whatever. This person pulls you aside, but don't you remember like all those hard lessons we learned in Catholic school together? Like, for realsies, you're gonna go to hell. And you're like, for realsies, you're being a bitch. Like, I don't believe, I just explained to you in a civil conversation amongst our friends, amongst our family, that I'm not down with that anymore. And this person is just like, yeah, but hell, it's like a real thing. And you're like, I don't believe that. Yeah, but I do. Okay, leave me alone. Like, so there is possibly some detraction from some people in your life, Aquarius, and that happens. When we have change and transformation, when we move from one way of being into another way of being, people resist it. And again, you could think of it even back to the actuality or the actual process of death. When someone dies, we grieve, we miss them. It is a change to our a change to our life, a change to our environment, a change to what we have come accustomed to, that we are also grieving. Not just the loss of the person, but what we believe is normal and okay for us, what we need in our life, right? So in a way, you doing this sends this person into a grieving process, or sends this person into a state of being overly concerned about you. Whether it's because they fear for your soul, or they fear for your safety, or you guys just now are coming to this realization, or they're coming to this realization, or, whatever, that we now have different political views, or we have different as values, okay? King of Wands in reverse might not be your best friend anymore, okay? Might be someone that you had a long-standing relationship with, a lot of trust, a lot of love, a lot of support between the two of you over the years. And now that you have done this, now that you have come out as this, now that you are changing yourself, they're not your biggest fan. They don't have to be a fire sign if I didn't mention that. I can't remember if I mentioned that in my spiel. Anyway, I think it's a considerable loss. That's the thing. I don't know if it's a loss, because this could just be the revelation that you might have expected, because you have been friends for so long, because this person has always been in your corner, because this person has always had your back and you've had their back. You might not expect them to be so put off by what you're going through or what you're expressing. And now that they've shown that to you, you may or may not walk away from them, or they may or may not walk away from you. I can't really tell. It's a bit of a bummer, but I think you're almost too high. Maybe that's the wrong phrasing. I think you're already, you might be too ecstatic or too much in love with your new life, this new path that you're walking, to really miss them that much. Not saying you don't. I'm just saying in the long run, I think you're going to be like, well, that had to be because, you know, it's I can't continue to live this way just because you want to see me live that way. I have to be who I am, is basically how that feels. Let me take a break and clear my sinuses. I'll be right back. And just like that, I'm back. I was gone for about a minute. Anyway, so I think you realize, or you will realize in time, or whoever needs to realize that, and I said this, and I've said this a few times recently on my channel and in privates, and this is part of my motivation for making this channel if you don't know it. Authenticity is so important. Self-awareness is so important. And not living selfishly, but living in a state of being aware and conscious of who you are and what you need and what you expect out of life. And a lot of times I think we sacrifice ourselves for other people. And I feel many Aquariuses, number one, it's not in your nature to do that, but because we live in societies and social structures that kind of enforce that on us, it's often any natural tendency, whether you're an Aquarius or not, is kind of, you know, that is stripped away from you, that is pulled out of you. You cannot be an individual in most societies. You have to be a part of some type of social grouping, right? And sometimes we get lumped into social groupings where we're not comfortable. Like I told you before, it feels like you're wearing somebody else's clothes. These shoes don't fit. I don't like hats. Get this hat off my head. I'm, you know, whatever. And you've been living in a way that pleases other people, that is okayed and affirmed by the powers that be, but that whole time you've been inauthentic. Beyond sexuality, I think that's the biggest part here. It's anchored in sexual expression or romantic expression. But again, it can be down to traditionalism in terms of your religion. It can be down to how you feel as a member of a capitalist society, doing the 9-to-5, punching a clock, cashing your check. You're like, I don't want to live that way. I don't want to live in a society like that. And so now that you found your home, now you can breathe easier. It's such a relief that if certain people walk away from you or you have to walk away from them, that is the price you pay. Again, back here with the death thing, you know, when you cross the river Styx, they put those coins over your eyes. That's the price of passage across the river Styx, my friends. So if you have to pay the price of losing your friend from Catholic school, c'est la vie. I'm not trying to make it easier, or not trying to make it seem as though it's the easiest thing to do, but I'm telling you, that's how things work. I'm not going to get into it. One day I'll make a video where I go into all these different beliefs and why I have them and where they come from. But until then, let's go ahead and move on to the Seven of Cups, your final card in the main spread. So here you go. Now that you've gotten what you want, met the people that you are connected to, your tribe, your soul family, the people that are mirrors to you, that you recognize yourself in, and you feel comfortable, you feel at ease, you get the Seven of Cups in reverse. No more confusion, no more feeling inundated or overwhelmed with all the different check boxes you have to, you know, fill in, and all the things you have to do because of traditional values or the expectations of others. Now that you are free, quote unquote free, whatever freedom or the idea of freedom to you is, or now that you're authentic, more to the point of what I was talking about before, you don't feel this. You don't feel lost. You don't feel adrift. You don't feel overwhelmed. You don't feel as if you have no place, or that the place that you're occupying is a false one. Play acting. Performing in ways or performing in roles that were never who you truly felt you were. Some of you are coming out as political activists. You know, you were part of the corporate working world. Now with all the political issues that are facing, not just us here in the States, but globally, okay? I don't care where you're from. You got an issue, and if you want to take it up, and if you want to dedicate your life to a cause, do it. You know, if that's what you feel called to do, if that's what you feel is your authentic path, do it. It's beyond sexuality. It's beyond religion. Whatever you feel aligned to do, that is your true self, your authentic self, living in your truth. Do it. And you will. You're already doing it. Most of you. You're already doing it. If you haven't done it yet, you will be. Because I think not only is it the natural inclination of an Aquarius to do that, I think that in general, that is what's building up in the collective. Period. People moving towards authentic ways of living. For good, for bad, for worse, I don't know. But the more honest you are with who you are and what you want, what you need in life, how you choose to express yourself, the better off the world is going to be. I think that we've gotten into a lot of jams as a collective of people on this earth because often we have been living under prescriptive rule. We have been living under prescriptive expectation. And that works to a certain extent. And now we have gotten to that extent. And now we need to be less in this, everybody not plays by the rules, but everybody has a certain role and you must fulfill that role. And the roles are limited to these 5 things. But that's just my personal opinion. In general, I think that's what you're doing, whether that's on a big macro scale or on a more micro local scale to, the intimate relationships that you have with family and friends. Okay? Very easy with that. Now, your outcome is Mr. Peepers. I shouldn't call him that, in case you skipped ahead. I said earlier that I was shuffling and I acknowledged this. Like I saw him when I split the deck. I was like, hey there, King of Cups. And I acknowledged him. And then he came out, after several shuffles through 6 other cards before him, he came out. So that's why I call him Mr. Peepers. It's not because he's a creep or anything like that. Now, King of Cups energy as your outcome, water sign energy, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. You could be dealing with a water sign, but you don't have to be. And man, talk about it. Authenticity. Talk about it. The King of Cups, master of that. Emotional authenticity. Emotional honesty. Not holding back, not being afraid to express themselves, not just in terms of love, romantic love, or even platonic love. Express themselves in general. If you are fucking pissed at the state of the world, for those that this is more political leaning reading, if you are pissed at what's going on in your home country, in your hometown or whatever, and you want to stand up in the face of the people that say, well, it's been working for 58 years. There's no reason to upset the apple cart. And you're like, there is a reason. And here are the reasons. And I'm going to tell you the reasons from A to Z. That's who this King of Cups is. You're not afraid to say openly what you find to be disastrous or unfair in a situation. The King of Cups, possibly a man or a person of few words, right? I only say he because it's a king. It doesn't have to be a king, or it doesn't have to be a man. But this person, you might have a few words, or you might, reserve your words for the right time and the right place. But when you speak, the words shake the room. The words reverberate. They have impact. The King of Cups is very much aware of the impact of his, maybe not emotional plea, but very much aware of the impact and the influence, thank you, that his convictions can have, and is moved and motivated by them. Does not shy away. Does not say, well, because I'm so emotionally invested in this, maybe I'm a little biased. You're fucking right, I'm biased. If this is down to, let's say it was down to fracking. I don't know much about fracking anyway. I just generally know, maybe we shouldn't be doing that. But let's say it was that. And let's say, in your town, they want to start fracking the land or drilling into the earth, right? Your community might say, well, that's big business. That, corporations, this is what they want. They're going to buy the land. They're going to do this, and this is just going to happen. And you're like, no, We live here. And people will say, oh, you're hysterical. Oh, you're so emotionally involved in this because, oh, well, why don't you, it's just like, yeah, damn right I'm emotionally involved. You want to come into my community and pollute it and do all this crazy shit? I'm not here for it. I don't care that you're a billionaire. I don't care that you're this faceless corporation that thinks that they can just buy their way into, the King of Cups is that person. I'm going to stand up and tell you why it's wrong. And it will be an emotional plea. There's a lot of ethos in what I'm saying. You understand? I have tons of ethos and I'm not afraid to use it. Go ahead and Google that. All right. For those who are like, ethos, ethos, pathos, logos, all that kind of stuff. It's the different elements to an argument. Ethos, pathos, logos. There's another 2 or 3, I think. But you have a lot of ethos there. And it works. It works. All right. If it's not political, if it's about, just you sitting down, Grandma Mary. So here's what's going on, family. I don't want to be with your Grandpa Joe anymore. I met a lovely woman. Her name is Cheryl, and we're going to get married. But you're married to Grandpa Joe. He's giving me a divorce. And they're just like, but Grandma Mary, you have kids already. Like, what are you talking about? I'm telling you. It's just like the plea and the argumentation, if you have to argue, is so impassioned. I think if people don't like it, they're just going to go away. And whether they go away because they choose to, or they go away because the universe, because the powers that be remove these people from your life, that's the way it's supposed to be. I could go into a thing about that too, but I'm not going to. Basically, there's only room for a certain amount in your life. And they come and go. And it's just the way it is. Now, overall energy, Knight of Swords. So, this is interesting. I think now that you've found your tribe, now that you've found the role in life that you were born to live in, or that you were born to exemplify or become, I think that you're incredibly enthusiastic about it, Aquarius. Air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. So this is, it doesn't have to be you, but it's within your wheelhouse. It's natural to you to quickly decide, to quickly move, to quickly speak or express a point of view. So now that you have the trappings or the commitment or the community that you've been looking for, you kind of want to like, boom, go straight into it. Also could be a call to action or this reaction that comes up in you, again, you could just be the person, small town person, or somebody who's never bucked the system a day in your life. But you hear wind that a company's coming to your town to lay a new pipeline, to frack. You've got word that somebody on a local political council wants to buy up all the homes or all this property and build new condos that are going to price out the older residents. That is definitely a very, very rampant problem across the world, where older properties are being bought up and new properties are going in, and they price out people who can't afford it. So you're forcing people into homelessness, or you're forcing people to live in lower standards of living. That is economic, I don't want to say piracy, but that's kind of what it feels like. And if you're recognizing that and you've never in your life given a shit about it, but all of a sudden something in you says, hey, that's not fair, or it affects you close to home, not only is Grandma Mary coming out of the closet, she's also getting pushed out of her home because she can't afford the rent there anymore, because there's a condo that went in next door because some big conglomeration said, hey, let's build, 15 Starbucks around here and a Whole Foods. Say what? Now you're called to action to change your circumstances, or call other people to consider different ways to change, but perceive the situation. Again, Mr. Scruffy pushing that bottle off the table. That bottle should stay on the table. Knocks it off. Why? Tell me why. Oh, look, the bottle's on the floor, you stupid human. I don't give a shit about your bottle being on the table. Something like that. Aquarius, what an interesting reading you've had. That's it. If it resonated with you, if you liked it, there's a like button down below. If you want to tell me how it resonated, that would be amazing. You can leave a comment down below and let me know about that. If you want to share the video, let other people know you like my stuff and you enjoy watching my channel, that would be cool. There's a share button for that. And the biggest one of all, guys, if you have not subscribed and you want to subscribe, YouTube has a nifty button for you. It's called the subscribe button. Hit it. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you can be up to date on when I come in and do all new uploads for you guys. As far as you, Aquarius, I'll be back soon with the mid-monthlies. Soon you'll get your birthday message on or about the first day of Aquarius season, so you have that to look forward to. I'm going to go live after for your birthday season in February, so you'll have that to look forward to. Lots of good stuff coming up for you guys. So again, if you're subscribed, you're already in the know. Congratulations. If you're not in the know, why don't you get yourself in the know? Anyway, Aquarius, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I appreciate you taking the time and watching today. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.